a weapon out of a pipe and a shotgun shell, which he put in the end of the pipe, and he took it with him. And as he was crossing a bridge or something to that effect, he saw some masons forming up on the other side, so that they were kind of blocking his progress. So he tried to turn around, and some other masons were blocking the other end of the bridge. So he was kind of left on this bridge by himself. And I believe it was a blue roadster comes driving up very, very fast and practically out of control. And the crowds part for it, and it comes out on the bridge. And who should come out of the car but Tom Mix, the old actor, but the real Tom Mix. And that was Downard's contention that the guy that made the movies was actually a double. And the real Tom Mix was actually a strung-out heroin addict, and he had come at the behest of supposedly his Masonic controllers, I imagine, to finally take care of the thorn in the side of the Freemasons, James Shelby Downard. And it was instead the real Tom Mix, through the workings of his makeshift shotgun, who met his end there on that bridge.
Yeah, okay. I do remember that scene now. That book, Carnivals of Life and Death, and there's different versions of that. Michael Anthony Hoffman has a version that's a bit different from the Farrell House version. The one Hoffman had available for a while is pretty crude as far as the writing style, not very literate a lot of the time. Some of Downard's original material is he wasn't a very good writer. That's why the likes of Michael Anthony Hoffman and other people basically took his theories, which were brilliant and out there, and made them readable. But I had, even the Farrell House edition, I had a lot of trouble getting through that. You read through a passage like the one you just mentioned with Tom Nixon, it's like, oh, God, this is really hard to believe, to digest, to think that a little 5-year-old kid could prevail time and again against
yes. Mm-hmm.
a whole squadron of Freemasonic goons, and but perhaps there is a measure of truth to it, but also perhaps Downard got his brain messed up and confabulated some of the stories, but I do believe he was traumatized, and I believe he had some really deep and unique insights into the strange world we live in.
Oh, absolutely, and I couldn't agree more. I mean, obviously, just your commentary on his writing and it not being very good, it sort of points to disorganized thought and that sort of thing. So, it's very easy to believe that Downard might just have been crazy. I mean, but the fact of the matter is that some of the things that he proposes, like in the King Kill 33, which I'm also familiar with that, certainly, there are some stretches in there, but a lot of it is pretty interesting, and it does take a totally different spin on Kennedy assassination from what what you would call more mainstream conspiracy writers would even dare go in that direction, I would imagine.
I've discovered I think there is definitely conspiracies all around us at different levels, and a lot of the mind control conspiracies, I think there's something to those, and there's definitely a conspiracy in the JFK and RFK, MLK, all those assassinations. But I also like to step back and look at conspiracy theories sometimes from a anthropological point of view, just how these evolve with different people. Even some of the more far out theories I don't necessarily believe in or discount, but it's just interesting to look at somebody like Downard, or another guy I've written a bit about named Jeffrey Dean Turner, who believes that Tuesday Weld was an Illuminati high priestess, and just kind of examine how these type of theories evolve. And also it seems like at the core of a lot of them there's something there. They were able to pick up on something that had a measure of truth to it, but that doesn't mean their complete theory is totally right.
Yeah, and that often, and I'm sure it's kind of cliched and hackneyed to say so, but oftentimes I think it is nonetheless true. A lot of times when you get trite expressions, they're true. That's why they're trite. And that is that sometimes the paranoid mindset and or people who are a little off have deeper insights into what's really going on than other people, because they can see things that quote unquote normal people can't.
As Charles Manson said, and Kerry Thornley quoted him, paranoia is a higher form of awareness.
Yes, absolutely, and on a certain level, that's absolutely true. I can't disagree.
I also wanted to note that some of the more far out conspiracy theories, I think it's important to at least take the time and consider them possible, or to entertain these theories, because it's a way of really expanding your consciousness, stretching your brain.
Absolutely. Oh, absolutely, yes. Because the ultimate thing is, a lot of times I think people they become so set in their minds that they're unable to even grasp other concepts. And a lot of times I find this with people who are embroiled in a particular religious dogma, that dominates their mindset, and they can't even conceive of anything outside of the realm of their particular dogmatic beliefs. And I'm not trying to come down on religion per se, but that's just one example of what I'm talking about. I think
you could.
Yeah, go ahead.
You could make the same observation with the field of UFO research. Some of the people in the field who are tied to the ET hypothesis, basically, that there's some pretty rigid thinking going on, and when there's 101 explanations of what UFOs and these visitors, whatever they are, could be. But you see that same type of religious thinking you see in organized religions with certain sectors in UFO research.
Oh, I couldn't agree more, especially with people who are convinced that we're being visited by, physical aliens and physical ships. A lot of the proponents of that particular point of view just absolutely will not entertain any other possibility for what these things are, and I think it's a broader, deeper subject. Thankfully, we have a few people who are level-headed enough to look at it from a broader perspective than just being locked in one particular point of view. A good guy for that is Nick Redfern, who I'm sure you're familiar with.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, absolutely.
Good.
He's a great
good
guy.
Friends.
Yeah. Are you a good friend of his?
Yes, I am.
Yeah. Well, I'll tell you what. He's a great guy.
Yeah.
Go ahead. You were going to say something else there.
Oh, I was just going to say I saw him a couple of weeks ago.
Well, I contacted him to come on the show, and he agreed. It's just a matter of setting up a time schedule-wise, because he said he was on the road right now. And I'd be very happy to talk to him, too, because I've enjoyed his work. So yeah, it's people like that bring a measure of sanity to an otherwise, like, totally controlled field, like ufology, you know. So I just wanted to throw that out there anyway. But let's get back. I wanted to touch on something that you had in Downard's book that didn't really have anything to do with James Shelby Downard per se, and that was the I'm pretty sure you had it in here. It was or no, maybe it wasn't. I think it was not in Downard's book. Anyway, I think it was one of your rants on your website. That's what it was. So let's change the subject a little bit and talk about. I think it was on your website. Let's see if I can find it. Yeah, the review of Kubrick's Eyes Wide Shut. And in leading up to this, I wanted to ask you if you had ever seen that brilliant documentary that somebody came out with, and I don't know who it was, but I saw it online probably about a year ago or so, where they got all kinds of, big wigs in it, and they talked about how they faked the moon landing with Kubrick being the guy in charge of the whole project. And I was wondering if you ever saw that. I can't remember the name of it right now, but I know they had, like, Rumsfeld was in it, several other people from, different administrations talking about, and I don't even know how, maybe they just used clips that they had talking about something similar or whatever, or if they actually got those people to agree to be in that documentary. But it was really brilliantly done. A total hoax, supposedly, of course, but it was very interesting. And, and then looking at Kubrick a little bit more, especially after Eyes Wide Shut and seeing that movie and, realizing the connections that are there to so many other different avenues of thought, made me look at Kubrick a little bit more closely, and apparently a lot of other people have been doing that as well, because I saw another presentation that somebody put together online about Kubrick, and how The Shining was actually like his revealing of the fake Apollo landings, and they used selected clips from the movie as evidence of him revealing things about it. And of course, this all leads up to the idea that Kubrick was offed because he was on the verge of spilling the beans or something to this effect. So with that little lead in, perhaps you can tell us a little bit about Kubrick's Eyes Wide Shut and your review there that you put up on your website.
Yeah, first off, you mentioned this movie about the Apollo landing being a hoax. I haven't seen that. I've heard the rumors, the conspiracy theories that he was actually the one who directed and filmed the hoax, if there was a hoax. But yeah, that movie sounds intriguing you're talking about. I'll have to search it out. No, you weren't wrong. You're probably just a little confused because that review of Eyes Wide Shut, it's on my website, but I also did weave it into the Downard book as well, just because it seemed like I made a lot of this type of connections that James Shelby Downard would, in my review of Eyes Wide Shut. I think that review, forget the year Eyes Wide Shut came out. It was in the late 90s, probably 97,